Okay, welcome back into part, I guess this would be 15 of the Phoenix Operator Owner Manual. Let's just get right back into it. We were just going over how his one mind is a magnetic light, and it gets broken up into two oppositely opposed electric lights. So there's a still magnetic light universe of God's knowing, and it's invisible. And then we have the creating electric universe is composed of moving light waves which spring from the calm sea of God's knowing of the one still light. Okay? And they sequentially interchange. So understanding this makes a more deeper understanding of the universe and how it is composed of opposite expressing light waves sequentially interchanging, which is why we have the sexual pressures of the two, male and female, blue or red spectrum of the lights. So getting back into rule number 15, actually, about understanding our sexuality and how it takes away from us achieving our true spiritual immortality. But with that being said, I'm just going to reiterate, this one is more than strictly forbidden, okay? Pedophilia, these people are actually going to go to hell. All right. Now, having said that, number 10, any voyeuristic, one who is sexually gratified by looking at sexual objects or acts or activity or any participation in pornographic, sexually explicit, or obscene materials, movies, magazines, books, artwork, and objects is strictly forbidden. Now, this is all over our media, in our movies, in all the TV shows. It's been slowly eroded. All the Christian morality from the 50s has been taken out of the TV shows and continuously eroded down. So I'm not going to go over all these pages. So I'm going to go over some of the highlights of it so you can understand. You can read it on your own. You can stop and pause and read. Please understand that it is this preoccupation with behavior of lustful and lascivious physical pleasure that you must each choose to avoid and rise above spiritually. The corruption and preoccupation with sexual thoughts, words, and actions have become hypnotizingly obsessive and also terribly degrading to the spirit of life of the one. This is not love by any definition. Can you not see this truth before you and within you? Your sexual obsession must stop if you are to reach beyond your mortal body and into the kingdom of God. Okay, in this page you can stop and read it for yourself, but it's basically about masturbation, and that usually sexual union between two partners is not for the celebration of procreation, so it's just basically mutual masturbation. That's the only difference. Okay, the divine sexual union is for celebrating procreation, as that's what they're saying here. Okay, and this is important to understand. What you ones have labeled sexual energy or libido is actually a corruption of the creative and nurturing potential of the Spirit of God within you. Let us repeat. This is your sexual energy libido, or repeat this. Your sexual energy libido is actually a corruption of the creative and nurturing potential of the Spirit of God within you. Okay, so the energy you feel is really the creative and nurturing potential of the Spirit of God within you. So you can go in the Funk and Wagnall dictionary, of course. You're not going to get the true definitions, but you can read them for yourself. Okay, so Funk and Wagnall's trying to say that your sexual feeling is the creative drive behind all activities. And this is not true. Instinctual craving or drive behind all human activities. The catch is, precious one, sex is not the instinctual craving or drive that was created by God. This was your creative, nurturing drive to know and celebrate God within you, to co-create the ever-unfolding expansion and adventure of life. The truly loving divine union, that of male-female experience, their creative potential through the sexual act for procreation, was created to be a union of divine loving devotion and celebration of the gifts of oneness shared, and of new life created from God. Rarely do ones feel true love, caring, friendship, affection, and intimacy before their mates on your plane, toward their mates on your plane. Most have simply forgotten what love is. You think perhaps you and your mate are one of the rare exceptions? Here is a test for you. How long would your marriage and commitment test last if today you completely stopped all sexual activity with one another? Think about this carefully. Do you truly give of yourself to your mate sexually and otherwise because you wish to please them? To please both of you? To please yourself? You ones think your sexual orgasm is ecstasy. You even limit ecstasy. You see, you are not your desires. You are not your emotions. You are the spirit of life of God. And your spirit is the master over your desires and emotions. Don't you see that you have simply chosen in your illusion of ignorance and confusion to make your emotions and desires the master over your spirit, your godness? This corruption of your creative potential was created, conditionally, and molded by the Antichrist. You simply bought the lie as truth and have become addicted to your desire for sex. You don't believe your sexual desire is created? Look around you today. Your advertising media, as well as your magazines, television, movies, are all creating your desires for you by conditioning and molding you through false images of what is beauty and what is sex appeal. In other words, by directing your attention constantly to how you look physically, your athletic prowess, your sexual appeal, and attractiveness. Why does and has this desire creating worked? Because the Antichrist first molds the false images and then plays upon your fear of being too unattractive, unworthy, unpopular, and simply rejected by others who you allow to judge you as a human being. The Antichrist keeps you bound by the false promises created by your desire to be worthy of life, so you are too busy trying to fit the false mold and therefore do not develop your creative spiritual potential within. How dare you feel unworthy because of believing the nonsense of false images? Please remember this truth. You are God's temple. Advertisers are always selling their image of what you ones call romance, and you are encouraged to think it means passionate sexual fulfillment. Your dictionary describes romance as a love affair, a kind of love between the sexes characterized by high ideals of devotion and strong ardor. 3. Adventurous, heroic, or exotic nature, romance of faraway places. When you crave romance, whether you know it or not, it does not mean sexual affair, dear ones. It means love affair. You are craving to experience within you God's love of life. You crave to feel alive, i.e., warm and intense feelings, eagerness, and zeal. Why? Because you are bored and spiritually unfulfilled with the self-created limits of your life, limits which the controlled media has set you up for in the first place. You are out of balance and you are seeking to ignite your creative potential within. Romance is the promise of adventure and joy for experiencing the spirit of life of God within you. You see, romance is not sexual adventure or a place to go. It is your desire to feel and know God within you. You can experience romance through the sharing of devoted and adventurous love of life with your mate, regardless of what your media hype tells you. Remember this. Your desire for romance is your desire for change from a limited and spiritually unfulfilling existence to recognizing and experiencing your unlimited creative spiritual potential within. We'll get into in the next part. Spaceman 2.0, and I'm out.